Beneath the scorching sands of Egypt lie secrets that have remained hidden for millennia. Ancient texts speak of mysterious chambers, modern scientists detect inexplicable radiation readings, and forbidden zones keep researchers at bay. Today we're diving deep into one of Egypt's most controversial mysteries that mainstream archaeology doesn't want to address. Welcome back to the Story Weavers channel. Today we investigate historical anomalies that challenge our understanding of the past. Before we begin this journey into this unexplained mystery, take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now, let's uncover what might be lying beneath the most famous ancient structures on Earth. What you're about to see isn't taught in history books. The evidence we'll examine today has led some researchers to propose a radical theory that highly sophisticated, potentially non-human technology may exist in chambers beneath the Giza Plateau. Is this pseudoscience, or is there something to these claims? Let's examine the evidence and you can decide for yourself. To understand this mystery, we need to go back to what ancient Egyptians themselves recorded. Several texts mention chambers and tunnels beneath the monuments of Giza that housed sacred objects and knowledge. The inventory Stela, discovered in 1858, describes structures and objects that existed at Giza before the Great Pyramid was built. It specifically mentions underground chambers used to store important artifacts and documents. Egyptian priest Manetho wrote about secret halls beneath the earth containing the wisdom of the ancients that was preserved from a great cataclysm. Similar references appear in the emerald tablets and other ancient documents. What's particularly interesting is that many of these texts describe these underground areas as housing technology or power sources that modern descriptions might characterize as radiating energy or emanating light without fire. Modern ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed a complex network of tunnels and chambers beneath the Giza Plateau. In 1978, one study identified several large void spaces beneath the pores of the Sphinx. In 1997, another survey detected what appeared to be symmetrical chambers arranged in a pattern consistent with deliberate architectural design. In 1935, French physicist Henri Berton reported unusual radiation readings while conducting surveys near the southern edge of the Giza Plateau. His findings were largely dismissed until the 1970s, when similar anomalies were detected by a team from the University of Rome. Dr. J.J. Hurtak, who conducted research at Giza in the 1980s, documented radiation levels that were significantly higher than background radiation in specific locations around the plateau, particularly near the so-called Tomb of Osiris, a subterranean structure discovered beneath the causeway of Khafra. In 2009, nuclear physicist Dr. Luis Alvarez attempted to use cosmic ray detectors to search for hidden chambers in the second pyramid. The project was abruptly terminated when his team detected what he described as anomalous radiation signatures inconsistent with natural sources. Now, I want to be clear. We're not talking about dangerous levels of radiation that would harm tourists. These are subtle variations that require specialized equipment to detect, but they're consistent enough that they've caught the attention of serious researchers. The Egyptian Antiquities Authority has officially denied these findings, but multiple independent researchers have confirmed unusual radiation patterns at specific locations around Giza. What's particularly interesting is that these radiation anomalies form a pattern. They're not randomly distributed, but appear to be concentrated along what some researchers believe might be energy lines or pathways connecting different monuments. If you visited the Giza Plateau as a tourist, you've likely noticed that there are significant areas that are off-limits to the public. Some restrictions make perfect sense, protecting fragile archaeological sites from damage. but others have raised questions. In particular, there's an area southeast of the Great Pyramid that has been designated a military zone since the 1960s. No photography is permitted, and access is strictly prohibited. Official explanations cite security concerns, but no specific threats have ever been identified. Dr. Carmen Bolter, who worked on archaeological projects in Egypt for over 20 years, has stated in multiple interviews that researchers who request access to certain areas beneath the plateau are routinely denied without explanation. Remember the mysterious door with metal handles discovered in the Great Pyramid by the Jedi robot in 2011? After this discovery was made public, further exploration was halted, and no additional information has been released about what lies beyond it. Former Egyptian Antiquities Minister Zahi Hawass has consistently maintained that these restricted areas contain nothing of significance. Yet he's also been quoted saying that certain discoveries are not for public knowledge, as they would require us to rewrite history. I'm not suggesting a conspiracy here, but it is worth noting the inconsistency between public statements and actual access policies. If there's nothing significant in these areas, why the extreme security measures and lack of transparency? Now we enter more controversial territory. Several researchers have proposed that what lies beneath Giza might be technology far advanced beyond what ancient Egyptians are traditionally credited with creating. Christopher Dunn, a mechanical engineer and author of the Giza power plant, has suggested that the Great Pyramid might have been an energy generation device. His analysis of the internal structures points to possibilities of hydrogen production and microwave energy. Dr. Sam Osmanagic, known for his work on the Bosnian pyramids, has suggested that the radiation anomalies at Giza are consistent with what he calls energy machines found at other ancient sites around the world. Even more controversially, researchers like Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock have proposed connections between these chambers and what ancient texts describe as the Hall of Records, a repository of advanced knowledge supposedly left by an earlier civilization. What's interesting is how these ancient descriptions sometimes parallel modern technology. When ancient texts describe lamps that never extinguish or stones that shine without fire, are they describing primitive oil lamps, or something more advanced that they lacked the vocabulary to properly explain? The radioactive signatures detected at specific points align curiously well with what we might expect from certain types of energy systems. The question becomes, if these were energy-generating systems, who built them and for what purpose? This brings us to the most controversial theory of all, that these chambers and the technology they potentially contain might not be of human origin. Before you dismiss this idea, consider that even mainstream Egyptologists struggle to explain how certain monuments at Giza were constructed with the technology believed to be available at the time. It's important to balance alternative theories with mainstream scientific perspectives. Most Egyptologists and archaeologists reject the idea of advanced technology beneath Giza, pointing to a lack of conclusive evidence. Dr. Mark Lehner, a respected Egyptologist who has worked at Giza for decades, attributes the radiation anomalies to naturally occurring radioactive materials in the limestone and granite used in construction. This is certainly possible, as granite does contain trace amounts of uranium and thorium. Geologist Dr. Robert Schoch has suggested that some of the underground structures at Giza might be much older than the pyramids themselves, possibly dating to the end of the last ice age, but he attributes their construction to an earlier human civilization rather than extraterrestrial influence. As for the restricted zones, archaeological sites worldwide often have areas closed to the public for preservation purposes or ongoing research. The military restrictions could be related to the strategic importance of the Giza Plateau, which overlooks Cairo. When we examine the evidence objectively, we find that there are rational explanations for many of the anomalies at Giza. However, questions remain about certain radiation patterns that don't align with typical background radiation or known natural sources. After examining the evidence from multiple perspectives, what can we conclude about the chambers beneath Giza? The historical records clearly indicate that extensive underground structures do exist. Modern technology has confirmed void spaces that align with these ancient descriptions. The radiation anomalies, while possibly having natural explanations, remain inadequately explained by conventional archaeology. As for the more extraordinary claims of advanced technology or non-human origins, the evidence remains inconclusive. But throughout history, what was once dismissed as impossible has often later been proven true. Perhaps what lies beneath Giza is simply an extensive complex of burial chambers and storage rooms, exactly as mainstream archaeology suggests. Or perhaps there's something more, knowledge or technology that could change our understanding of human history. What's most important is that we approach these mysteries with both an open mind and critical thinking. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, but dismissing unusual findings without proper investigation doesn't serve the advancement of knowledge. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe there's advanced technology beneath Giza? Have you visited Egypt and experienced anything unusual? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you found this exploration valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe for more investigations into history's unexplained mysteries. Remember, the past may be more mysterious than we've been taught to believe.